Thank you very much, Ababa Kochi. My name's Anit from EDG Export Trading Group. A sales agronomist from Western region. We are here to discuss about the issues of agriculture and also the problems in agriculture. In this conversation, we are also going to record. Also, we hope you also agree to be part of this. Could you please introduce yourself? My name is Setema Douglas, representing Bakooki Supplies. Where do you work from? What do you do? We work in Masaka, Loom Street. We are agro dealers. We do farm supplements supplying. How long have you been in business? It is over 20 years. How is your daily life? How does your day move? Like in sales, also how you move the stock, also the sales. Can you picture me? How is your day? In all aspects, how is your day when you open the door? Can you try to picture in seasons we open the, especially the weed killers and fertilizers are also demanded, but when it is time for sowing, the seeds are mostly demanded. There's time for sowing, also there's time for coffee, fertilizers. All they are not demanded at the same pace. During the times which we call peak seasons, how do you balance your books to know that this is coming to the store and this is the supplement which is going outside the store? How much is going out and how much is coming in? We balance using the receipts. We balance using whatever is sold is recorded in the receipt. The store has a receipt where everything is recorded. How do you balance the store and the main shop? How do you balance everything that comes out of the store? We record, and the stores are near us. We go to the store in the evening to check what we procured. So we indicate whether we put it in the shelves or we gave it by loan. In the evening, we write it down, what is sold by cash, which are put in the shelves, and so on. Do you have any other place where you keep your records apart from the receipt? Yes, madam. Is there any challenge which you face in your daily operations? What is your biggest challenge in your daily operations? You have problems with stock balancing. Sometimes the sales when they are not matching, they usually quarrel with customers. Where do you find your challenge? Or do you have a challenge where people you have to advise, there are many? Usually the problem with customers, sometimes the deliveries they don't reach the customers. Most of our customers they order, they send people to buy for them. Sometimes they don't come. So if you make orders through drivers, you don't know their passage or their routes. If the customer does not see the product, he does not call the driver, he calls directly you and complains why you never delivered, yet you are sure that everything was delivered. So sometimes he puts the blame and responsibility on you to demand the product from the driver who you never knew about. So how do you think you can solve such a problem? Most of the time these cameras they help us very much. They confirm that we delivered the product to the driver. So it is up to them to sort out with their drivers. There are so many competitors in farming business, and also you have a lot of experience in farming. How is your relationship with these suppliers in terms of delivery, in terms of quality and supply? These companies where we buy the supply, where we get our supplements, how is the relationship in making delivery? Most of the times we are the people who get the deliveries by ourselves. Do you have any problem with ordering from the suppliers? Is there you have a good relationship with them, or is there any problem? So how is your payment with different companies? How are the terms of payment with those companies? How is the quality of the different companies that you're working with? The companies we work with, the quality is not bad. Sometimes the farmers use badly the products. Some complain, some other farmers they don't complain. I want to know your relationship with the supplier. Do you think it has to be changed or improved? I think the relationship is good, and I also receive the supplements in time. How are their payment times? Apart from Dubai and Yala, every other supplier we pay them by cash. So if Dubai and Yala they give you a loan scheme or credit scheme, what is the repayment period to pay, and what are the terms? Dubai you pay slowly by slowly. They don't give you the period. You can pay even within a month, depending on the supply they have given you. And there are some people who give you like 60 days, like 2 months, and they tell you have to pay within this period. And if they give you this period, they tell you have to pay according to this schedule every after 2 weeks. Maybe there are suppliers also, they usually tell us every once a month. Sometimes we exceed even 1 month. But usually they give you time. When you get 1 million, you pay. You pay you pay according how the season moves, because sometimes you procure them and the season is not good. Sometimes you have to pay so that you can receive any order. Do you have any frustration part while dealing with suppliers? In terms of delivery, delaying, in terms of wrong orders or wrong quantities? Is there any frustrating part you have ever had with your supplier or distributor? It happens a lot. So, sometimes you order striker in Vukola. Sometimes you ask for a liter, they give you a quarter. Even returning the product is expensive. Sometimes you have to make the same order and remain with the product which you never ordered for. Have you ever ordered 40 boxes and they gave you? Have you ever ordered 50 boxes and you received 40? It has never happened with the people we work with. How do you decide what you will stock? What will you buy to put in your shop? And which quantities? How do you decide on the quantities? So the time I spent here, it depends on demand, because this season customers demand different products, and also another season they demand differently. So really demand from the season, in the start of the season, really affects everything. So your procurement of these farm supplements, does it depend on the demand? Is it what you mean? There are some products which need to be in the store always, but these new products, only what the demand is what you give them, not to procure a lot and then it stays in the store for a lot of time. So it's like keeping money when it is dysfunctional. So how many times do you have a product which is stuck and it is not being demanded? We have it a lot of times. Sometimes the customers, they like a product so much, so you purchase in bulk and the next season they don't take any, yet you had procured a lot, so you may think that they will demand more. Sometimes even they expire. If you find that the products are expired, if you find the products are near expiry and still in stock, what do you do? How do you handle such situations? Do you ban them? Do you dispose them? If for these products which are remaining like 6 months or 4 months, we find a customer in the area where it is marketable, we may give it to him at a lower price. We dispose it off. So we cut the prices to give. We cut the prices to give to a customer who likes who demands who demands that very product, so that we can clear that stock. How do you decide things you are going to purchase by cash and also on credit? So most of the things we supply to our farmers, we at most give them all on credit. But when we are buying, any person who is able to give us on credit, we can accept. If a person does not accept credit and he accepts cash, we move with cash. So we don't have any choice, but the person who offers is the one who decides. If he denies, we have to buy. So the supplier is the one who determines. So how do you determine? So how do you determine among your farmers who you supply whether you will give on credit or on cash? It depends on the time I've been with this person. Usually, so you may see their experience and also their previous connections with you, relationship with you, how they have been working, how they have been moving their business. So always check how he balances his business, how he manages his business. Which side is the most difficult while you are dealing with customers who want to take things on credit, even on payment? Which problem do you face a lot in retrieving the money in repayment of the money we took for the spam supplements? We give the customers our products, but but they receive the money from the business, so they remain with your money in their business. So when you demand the money, you find that your money in their business is not there, even their money is not present. and that brings wrangles in the business. So if such instances happen where payment is there are wrangles in payments, how do you deal with them? Some they default and they don't pay for it, but it is basically most of the times arguing and also talking. When you're giving out credit for this farm supplements, do you give a deadline? And if you have, how long does it take? So we have a rule that if someone takes the supplements during the season, when the season is ending, he has to pay back, so that you can plan for the next season what you can supply to him. Have you ever given any scheme, any credit to some farmers, and you give them around 30 days as an example, and you expect them to pay by zero balance within those days? Has it ever happened? Yeah, it happens a lot. Do you give them a standard duration? There are some people who don't need a standard time or duration, so you just note them in the books. When they pay slowly by slowly, when they pay some amount, you record the amount in the books, so always you find them in the books year by year. There are some who pay and they clear everything. What is your biggest challenge as you're working with the farmers? What is your biggest challenge as you are managing your relationship with the farmers? What is your biggest challenge? So sometimes we give them things on credit, but if the produce fails, if the harvest fails, if the season fails, they forward the blame to you, the supplier, and forgetting that this is a business, that you borrowed the items to this farmer. They may say the tomatoes failed, so they want to default the payment because of failed harvest. Have you ever received any misunderstanding with your farmers that you supply, that the prices is too much? And were in a situation where they ask a lot of questions and they need more time to pay, yet you have other customers to work on, to deal with. Do you find always that your relationship with the farmer is always falling apart, or because they need a lot of time in explanation? Yet you may find that you are working on other people that you need supply. Usually I don't have problem with that. Explaining to the farmer is not a big problem. Sometimes even the farmers, they ask for your telephone number, or they don't understand, they call you back. The problem is usually giving them a credit, giving them some farm supplements on credit. Have you ever worked with any government program? I've ever worked with one during the COVID-19 period. Only that. Did you find any problem working with government schemes or government programs? The payment terms with the government was good. So during that time, the challenge we had is that you had to take things by cash, no credit. We have two seasons in our country. So how is your day during the season? And how is your day during off season? Usually during off season, it is a lot of sun and the things are on sloth. They move. It can take the whole day without seeing anyone buying or any customer. So it is a day for checking, also cross-checking, and also doing other things, checking the expiry dates. We check the stocks, the quantities that you have in the. So usually in the off season is the time to balance your books. You usually balance your books in your business, not a lot, but you usually do. So if you do it, how long does it take you to do the balancing? If we balance the books today, how long will it take us to balance again the books? Balance the accounts. It is done every 3 months. That is when we do the cross-checking. We check what you have in the store, especially the chemicals. Do you have any other branches since you have 20 years in experience? I have never heard about that. So for me, I know only one branch. I only know one branch, which is bakooki. Apart from giving some farm supplements to your farmers, is there any other service that you offer them? Sometimes we visit their farms and see what they are farming, and also you advise them according to what you know and tell them what is lacking. We visit, also sometimes we train them. If they ask you about the usage of farm supplements, how do you deal with that? Like how to operate the pump, how to use the fertilizers. So most of the farm supplements we have here, I have an idea, because all the instructions are written on there, and sometimes we have trainings and we know how to use, even we know the pumps. We know that in certain states we cannot use the pump in a certain way. Companies in Uganda, do they do trainings for agro dealers? Do all companies do? Yes, they do, but yes, they do trainings for agro dealers. So not all companies, but some companies like Yala and East Africa I've ever attended. Also others, they do the trainings. If they do this training, how long does it take them to do in a year? If you have 2 seasons, usually Yala does 3 trainings per year. Sometimes they train you online. Sometimes they teach about fertilizers. So they said, stay tuned. In these trainings, do they train only agro dealers, or they mix with the farmers? They separate the trainings for agro dealers, and also farmers, they train them differently. Do you think the number of trainings are enough, or they have to change? The companies, they have to change the number of trainings. Should they increase or decrease? They should increase. They should be how many in a month, in a year? At least every year they have to train us like 3 months, because they usually train us for one day. Sometimes they train us for hours, 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes we find that what they have taught you is really very important. Some are new things that when you explain them to the farmers are amazed. Sometimes the farmers need a lot of explanation, and they really want to buy from the person who knows how to explain. Have you ever heard of any EDG trainings conducted by EDG? There's no training ever conducted by EDG. If they wake up one day and they organize this training, can you participate in any of the training? I think it is possible. Also, there was one training where some promoters they had gathered during the alpha program. So during that time, so there was a training. So it was an association where EDG also participated, but not solely prepared by EDG. How do you receive information from your customers? Is there a way where you store the information? Do you have anywhere where you capture the information of your customers? And how do you capture? You usually receive their phone numbers, even the locations. Is there any way which you think you need to receive this information to enhance your business? Is there any data which you wish to capture from the customers to help your business? Mostly the data which is needed from the customer is the receipts and also to check the statistics of their purchases. Is it increasing or falling? Sometimes it is viewable in the purchases in the receipts. Do you use any platform or on social media or digital apps as our coach farm supply or to promote your business? We don't have any, not yet, but soon we are opening up one. Which mobile apps do you use? I usually use WhatsApp. Do you think it would be good if these companies they establish an app where you can order the farm supplements? When the farmers can order something and then you can pick it whether from the supplier or from the shop. What do you think this app would be very good? I think that app would be good, but according to me, and you understand that I don't think people can easily capture that technology part, because even the basics they fail to they have failed to integrate the basic technology. How about the difficult technology? For example, also one time Yala introduced a program, Yala Connect. Even they could give prizes. If you could scan the QR code, they could give you points. But most of the customers, they don't have smartphones. Yet these programs are for smartphones. So even operating a smartphone is a problem. So how can they use that program? So the problem is that as Ugandans, we have not really engraved our lives in technology. But it would be a very good suggestion. Do you have any problem reaching to your farmers who are out of reach? If yes, I've ever faced that. If so, what about that issue? The distance, first of all, if the distance is too long, even the time you have to spend to go there, you may not find it. The time to visit is not always possible. Apart from the time, is there anything which protects you from reaching your farmers, or which hinders you from reaching your farmers? There is nothing, but usually it is time. But if you get time, you have to visit them. What happens if you sell a product to a farmer who is deep out of town in the village, and yet the product is faulty? What happens in that situation? Who bears the cost? If this person says that what you supplied was ineffective, is not working, it wasn't working. Who bears the cost? Is it the supplier, the farmer, or you? It depends, because the same product, if it is used by 100 people but only one person complains, that is not my problem. It is his problem as the farmer. The same product, if it receives many complaints, so we tell the farmers to we recall the product back to the shop. If it is still, they have some samples. So when you receive that, that from the farmers, then we call the suppliers. Sometimes people complain that I've received fertilizers which are like in powder form. So that usually that problem is because of our storage. Usually they return and then we give them a new product. Or if someone says, you gave me expired things, or sometimes if you receive it from a company which is expired, or when you have been piling these items on each other, then they get expired in that situation. So we look at all those cases. So how did this person use to come to this point that it did not work? You may find it was his fault in terms of usage. So so at what time do you compensate the farmers? How many people do you need? How many people do you need to confirm that really this product has a problem? If 5 people complain, other people, if they don't complain, I also start questioning why are they complaining of the same thing. Then we start researching about that. So after you researching, you inform the supplier. Also, if it is a fertilizer, you try to spray it somewhere. And if a fertilizer never worked, in cases of where the fertilizer never worked, in case of granule or foliate or pesticides or herbicides, for fertilizer we usually cross-check with our farmers who we really trust, and they try this product and they inform you. If you have a default product also, or product which has problem, and you complain to the suppliers, do these suppliers receive or recall the product back? Do they do a replacement? Do they compensate? Do the companies do? Most of the companies, they do that. So we call us for a batch number. So in East Africa, there are some tins. So you had to take all the tins, and they did the replacement. So when we check in Masaka, you are numerous everywhere. There's your shop. How have you managed to stand in business yet you have many competitors? Yet you have so many competitors next to your door and some across the road. How do you manage the competition? Is it because of the price? It is not because of the price, but mostly the way you handle your customers when they come to your shop. Because sometimes if you give credit to your customers, also you can stay with them for some time. Your relationship with them, so the time you're working with them, you become like relatives. Also, if they call you for functions, also you attend. If they have a funeral, you attend. So you follow up on each of their functions in life. Apart from the cost of goods, is there any major expense which reduces your profit and also your investment power? Yeah, it is there. It is one is rent, workers, also eating, transportation of the farm produce, also revenue. Also, you have to pay council fees or done operation fees. Thank you, Master Douglas. Is there an aspect in business which you feel I have skipped, but it should be discussed more in detail? The problem is that your Indians, uh, they worry so much to get things on credit. It is not easy. How do you suggest on that issue? How should we handle such issue? issue? They should start supplying some farm supplements on credit and also products which are easily marketable, not products which can lay on the shelf. So should these credit scheme be limited or unlimited? Limited in terms of value or limited according to the terms in the quantity of products given out? So how would you like it to be? So in terms of value, it means I cannot give you exceeding this amount. or you're the one to decide the quantity? It all determines, also it is determined the way you have been buying. So usually you can say maybe this company like Wakochi is in the stage where you can also give him a credit of 10 million. Sometimes you may request for 100 million net. Your potential is below that. If they give you this credit on the farm supplements, how do you like to make the payments? How do you want to make the payments? Not, I don't want to pay monthly, because usually monthly it is not easily possible. Usually it delays. So they should not give you credit and they give you also timeline. It is not supposed to be like that. So it needs self motivation to clear the credit, to clear the debt on the farm supplements. Thank you, Abakochi Farm Supply. We thank you for your suggestions, your time, and thank you for accepting for this interview. Also, I would request that they reduce the prices on some products, because some the prices are very high. Like which product exactly? Is there any product, to be specific, which you want a reduction in price? There's a product which is called glyphosate. Is there any other product? And also the fertilizers. Is there any? Are there any last words which you want to conclude with? N- not necessary to EDG, but concerning the agriculture market of Uganda. here in our place, we sell to farmers, but they have issues with the prices. Sometimes the prices are too low, sometimes the prices are too high, sometimes they are not favored. So sometimes they reap, sometimes they lose. The next season you may find they lose. So I'm praying that the government may look for our farmers a market that the prices should be the same, that they are not shaking. If they fall, they don't fall so much, so that it does not fall below their targets. That, that would be my suggestion. So in terms of a standard market price for the products which are coming out of the garden, or the farm products, so you may find that tomatoes box is 350,000, and when the demand falls you may find the box is 50,000. So you may calculate the time, the supplements, the labor. That is a great loss. Thank you for accepting the interview. Also, as I told you, this interview will help us to improve the farming practices in Uganda, also to correct some areas where we are lacking. Also, this experience to meet you, it has been very good, because at this time we are able to listen. What is your say? What is your input? Because most of the time we have been the people who are telling you what to do. Also, you're able to listen to your problems, your challenges, and also your guidance. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Douglas.